Okay, we're good. Welcome back into Coach's Corner East on this Wednesday, September 28th. We're at the Galleon Pizza Hut. I am your host, Mike Sparks. It's time for the Colonel Crawford portion of tonight's show, and we are brought to you in part by Don Barn Associates at Galleon Building and Loan Bank, Matt Studer at Spitzer Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and Kia 1 mile east of the Richland Mall, Mark Osborne and Associates at E-Crane International serving worldwide markets from the Galleon Industrial Park, and David Miller filling in for Jake Bruner on this Wednesday night. It's so good to see you. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it.
Really good to see you too.
Thank you. Looking back, there's times in high school sports where I think for memory's sake, you look back and say, wow, I really remember that game. And this was certainly one. Carey coming to your place, arguably, let's say, the N10 championship game, because you're the two top teams, a packed crowd. You're honoring Coach Teglovic, pancreatic cancer, people all over the place. And the game itself, although you didn't come out on the winning end, didn't fail. It lived up to the billing. 7-3. I watched the whole thing on TV, hard hitting, just a mistake here, a misfire here, and that could have proved the difference. But what was it like, even though you didn't win, to be a part of something as special as that night was?
It's always an honor to be a part of two great programs. Great programs are built on kids' effort. Just being a part of kids putting it all on the line for their teammates. It's always a cool experience to be around. And you do this long enough, you come out on the right end of that sometimes, you come out on the wrong end of that sometimes, and that's just it doesn't take away the hurt you feel for that individual group, for that individual team. Both teams played really hard, played well in spurts, especially both defenses really played well. It's definitely fun to be a part of.
You were part of a lot of those type of games when you were coaching over at Winford, and now you get an opportunity to do it at Colonel Crawford. It puts you now at 5-1 overall, 2-1 in the Northern 10 Conference, and again, as I said, a classic football game between two schools that are state ranked, and you proved it on the field. And really, one big throw made a huge difference after Carey had broke up your fake punt on fourth down. Blue Devil quarterback Lance Rickle lofted a pass to Austin Niedercore, 36-yard. That was the only touchdown of the game, and your defense just did it. I was so impressed. Yeah, you've been a high-flying offense, but what Coach DeGray and that defensive staff did was unbelievable to a really powerful team that says, yes, we are going to run, and I don't care what you do, we're still going to run. And you held Carey to 218 yards, a team that was averaging 358 coming in. Talk about the praises of what your defense did.
Just our coaches and our kids every week put in a lot of effort. Breaking down film, trying to come up with the best plan to make the other team do what they don't want to do to have to win the game and move the football. And I think you just saw two defenses, ours included, that really did a really nice job of making the other team a saying is play left-handed and trying to take away what the other team wants to do best, what they like to do best. And our defense, Coach DeGray, the whole staff, our kids, really executed the game plan at a really high level. They did a very nice job.
I could just see the body language of the Carey kids. They were frustrated. Whatever you guys were doing, I could just see them walking back to the huddle, and they looked frustrated, like, wait a minute, why isn't this working? This is what we do. And that was impressive to me. Coach Bruner said in the Telegraph Forum, our defense played extremely well. We did what we wanted to in stopping them from running the ball. And Braxton Morton, 36-yard field goal in the second quarter, the lone score for the Eagles. And Morton missed a field goal in the third quarter that may have brought you, that many thought, I should say, you guys should have gone for it.
Sure.
Hindsight's 20/20.
Hindsight's 20/20.
Was that Coach Bruner deciding that, or did you guys talk amongst yourselves?
We talked as a staff just briefly. We felt like we had a little over a quarter to play. I believe there was maybe right under a minute left in the third quarter. And I think we felt like if we could cut it to one there, that either another field goal could win it, or we saw it on a whole other quarter to score a touchdown and still win the game. So I think we felt like we would take the opportunity there. We got a really nice field goal kicker, blessed with that. Got a good group in front of him, a good holder. And as you just said, hindsight's always 20/20, but we felt like that was a very good opportunity to put some points on the board there.
Yeah. As Coach Bruner said, exactly what you just said, hindsight's 20/20. There are probably a lot of things we'll regret from this game, but I don't regret how hard the kids played and battled through this. You accumulated just 119 yards total offense, but again, as watching that, I came away so impressed with Cam Lohr.
Yeah,
Not
absolutely.
so much throwing, it's what he did with his legs and made plays, survived series, continued series going on. even though, again, didn't win, you had to be impressed with what he did and what your line did as well.
Definitely. I mean, that defense is an extremely aggressive defense. There's all different kinds of defensive philosophies out there, and that is a defense that thrives on creating chaos, and that is really, really difficult on the whole offense, especially the quarterback. Cam did a phenomenal job, always level-headed, always puts the last play behind him, ready for the next play. Cam Lohr's our leader and does a tremendous job.
Mm-hmm. Having coached my son, and I was obviously part of that, and it would always amaze me how I think I took it harder than, and parents take it harder than the kid. Yeah, they're down Friday night, maybe a little Saturday, and then they kind of forget it. Did you have a good week of practice and bounce back rather quickly from that defeat?
We've had a great week of practice, but it was one thing we were very worried about is the adults and the coaches, and you said it, kids are more resilient than adults are a lot of times. We were really worried about how the kids would handle a disappointing defeat. And I think there's one thing, being disappointed is all well and good, and you probably should be when you put that much effort into something and it doesn't work out the way you want it to. But there's something to be said for dusting yourself off and getting ready to go for the next week. Yeah. And our kids, man, they've done a really, really great job of preparing for another tough opponent, and they understand the season's not over. We're into week 7, and it's about getting ready to play the next game.
Yeah, because a lot of things are going to happen in life that don't go the way you want them to, and you can't just curl up in a ball and say, I'm done. You got to get up and you got to get after it.
It's a credit to our kids and their families.
Yeah, very good. Take a break here before we talk to young men around the table. We're brought to you in part by Steve and Chuck Keller at Keller Auto Parts, your Napa dealer, Uptown Galleon and Crestline. Dr. Thomas M. Britton at Clubview Vision Center next to the golf course in Bucyrus. Joe Kleiman Associates at Galleon office of First Federal Bank of Ohio. Isaiah Studer, if you want to pick that up there, attaboy. And glad to have you back. And I want to talk about the atmosphere. I mean, that had to be so cool to see all the. I saw the shot in the, what would that be, the north end zone where the scoreboard is. I couldn't believe how deep that was, and the people were there, and to hear that, I guess some would say, annoying truck horn go off. I mean, how cool is that to just be part of something so special?
It was awesome. I've never seen our stadium so packed, and our student section was the most I've ever seen. And we had the Carey guys over there too. But
mm-hmm. Yeah, so pretty neat. You're playing defense, right?
Yes, sir.
How cool was that you could shut that down, that powerful run offense of Carey down? How cool was that for you, and did it just continue to feed into what you were doing defensively?
It was a great feeling. We knew they were going to run it down our throats the whole game, and just for us to stay consistent and try and keep them to like less than 2 yards of carry was just a good feeling overall as a defense.
As I mentioned, I could see their body language. Could you see it in their eyes?
Yeah.
Could you see the frustration? Mm-hmm. Were they talking amongst themselves like, what the heck's going on here?
Not necessarily like right up front of us, but I could kind of see it.
Yeah, okay. Bounce back. You got to get right back up and play. You got Upper Sandusky coming to your place, a team that's going to be completely different because they want to throw it all over the place. What have you done defensively to kind of say, okay, let's pick up the bootstraps and let's get after it?
Well, I mean, we all just kind of put it behind us. Like the coaches told us Saturday morning, they're super proud of us. So we just put it behind us, and we're just getting ready for Upper.
Yeah, long season left to go. So, well, congratulations on getting back after it, and good luck this week against Upper. Jacob Lucius is back, and kind of the same question. It's a pretty neat experience. Were the nerves there for you, or once you got out there and things were flying around, it's like, all right, I'll just settle down?
The nerves are always there right before the game, after the first snap, you go away, and at halftime, nerves come back. After first snap, after halftime, I'm going again.
Yeah, I found, and with officiating, working in big games with so many people like that, it really amped me up a lot more. And maybe the first series or so, I was pretty uptight, and then you just settle in, and you don't really even hear it anymore. Really, it's just an outstanding game, and even though you didn't score like you wanted to, and what was the talk offensively from your team? I mean, when you're seeing Cam do what he was doing, what was kind of that talk there and trying to get in to get that score?
We just trying our hardest time away to punch it down. Yeah, we were all mad or stuff, so like Cam get hit so many times.
Yeah.
We didn't really control it. It looks more like we have him at the line.
Yeah, true. So this week, talk about the practices. If you had, Coach said you had practice. Do you feel like you've had good practice?
I feel like that all off the line. I never had a real good practice. Now the team's giving some real good look every day.
Yeah, it's a bad position for Upper to be in with a Crawford team coming off a loss. That they probably wish they could move that on the schedule to somebody else, but it is what it is, and you jump back on the horse and you get after it. We'll have a great week this week. Have a great time. Another opportunity to get better, and another opportunity to get ready for the playoffs, which hopefully is going to be inevitable for you. So have a good time with it for sure. Nevin Sinet is a junior. Nevin, thanks for coming. What position you playing this year?
Strong tackle and defensive tackle.
Okay, varsity, or you playing JV mostly, or
I play JV, and I've been in a few varsity.
getting some time? Yeah. Okay, good. What have you done both offensively and defensively as a scout? What's your biggest job as to get the varsity starters ready to go?
I guess just give them a hard time, try to rough them up, and be very physical.
Yeah.
That's what they want me to do. They want me to keep hands on at all times on defense and on offense. Just do whatever I can to try to keep Jacob Moss or Parker out of the backfield.
Yeah, not an easy task, is it?
Definitely not. No. Just try to give them as hard of a time as I can.
Yeah, good. Upper Sandusky wants to throw the ball a little bit, and it's going to be so different than what Carey did because they want to run. What have you done to prepare your defense as scout team offense this week to get them ready for Upper?
Again, just maintain contact, try to get through the backfield, try to give our own line, some challenges. It's not as much of a challenge as they give us whenever we're on scout out, but do whatever we can. Okay, very good. And good luck this week. Enjoy, and hopefully you get some time Friday night. That'd be a good thing. Thank you.
Yep, you bet. And Tim Faulkner's back. Good to see you again. And you're becoming my all-star here. It's great. I think this is number 3, and that's great. You could come back every week. Always enjoy talking to you. Those are tough losses, right? But you've been through these wars. You saw your brother go through these wars. What has made you be able to bounce back and just say, I got to forget that one. That one's over. I can't do anything about it. Let's move on.
Because I always remember all the coaches saying, don't worry about the last play you just played. Worry about the next one or the play you're on now.
Yeah. In sports, you got to have a short memory. You got to kind of forget what just happened. Yeah, you maybe made a mistake, missed a read, didn't get the block you needed, but you can't do anything about it. It's over. You got to move on. You got Upper Sandusky that wants to throw a little bit more defensively. What's going to be your main assignment?
To try to sit back and try to stay there and not go in the backfield sometimes. But whenever they want to throw over our line, we got to retrace our steps so we can get to the ball and go upfield more.
So don't pay attention to the eye candy, so to speak. Just stay what your assignment football. Don't get fooled by the eye candy, and just do what you're supposed to do, right? All right. Well, good luck to you. Enjoy. Thanks again for coming. I certainly appreciate it. Take another break here before we wrap up with Coach Miller. And we're brought to you by the Burkhart family at the Burkhart Farm Center, your Case IH dealer straight west of Gallion on the Manette New Winchester Road. Mike Kleinite at Ag Credit Residential Lending, Bucyrus, Mount Gilead, and Marion. Sweet Baby Ray Jones and Kendra Weaver at Ohio Door and Sash, 120 South Street in Gallion. Mark Osborne at E-Crane International, Route 598, the north edge of Gallion. Coach, I was looking at your remaining schedule, and I know the coach speak. I understand you're going to say we respect everybody, and you should, and I know that you do. But you really have gotten through the toughest part of your schedule. The remaining schedule that you have, their combined record is 9-15. Don't listen, kids. That's not important. But it is. You're kind of coming into a stretch of teams that have had tough seasons. But regardless, Upper Sandusky is on your schedule for this week. Russell Hall is going to bring the Rams over. 2-4 overall, 1-2 in the Northern 10 Conference. Much improving Mohawk team beat them last week 28-7, and the Rams are averaging 25 points a game, giving up almost a little over that, 25.8. They rush 119 yards per game, but they throw for 219, 338 total, and their defense surrenders 146 on the ground, which is kind of your specialty, and another 184 through the air, 330 overall. Does that change your game plan from an offensive standpoint that, they tend to give up more through the air, even though our personality is kind of run first with the wing T, maybe we should throw it more, or it's whatever the defense gives us?
Yeah, I think that's a fine line offensively where you have to have an identity, which you and your kids believe in, But I do think also at times one thing that's allowed offensive football to really explode over the last 15, 20 years is using the whole field and making people not just defend a portion of the field. So yeah, I think we're going to try to be balanced. We definitely want to run the ball. I think that's important in our program to be able to establish that. But then you like to be able to establish that and then make the team defend play action pass and the run game.
Mm-hmm. Now, in talking to my son, and I'm going back to that because you're familiar with that situation, he told me that at times he and his fellow offensive linemen would tell the coaches, we need to be running this because this is open. You listen to your kids a lot and say, well, hey, we're out there. We know what works and what doesn't, and kind of factor that in?
Absolutely. It's one nice thing about not having a lot of two-way starters. One thing we like to do early in games when a couple offensive linemen come off the field after our first possession is have coaches talk with them. Where are they lining up on you? Are they moving? Are they stemming? Are they slanting? That types of thing. It's cool to have the huddle, the view so you can see what's going on, but it's sometimes that first-hand view. At the end of the day, the kids are the ones that are out there doing it, so their perspective can definitely be beneficial.
You're going to see the Northern 10's top passer in Caden Holman, 101 throws for 101 of 169 is what I'm trying to say. 1,313 yards already in just 6 games, 7 touchdowns, but 10 INTs. He is vulnerable to that. Evan Hill, Holman's top target, 32 receptions, 397 yards, 66 yards per game, 4 touchdowns, and I assume it's his brother Ethan Hill, also very dangerous, 19 receptions, 389 yards, 65 yards per game, and 3 touchdowns. They want to get it through the air, don't they?
Definitely. It's a talented group. It's a veteran group. They have a nice system of a run-pass option where they try to take advantage of what the defense is defending and go where you're not. So yeah, I mean, we definitely have our hands full offensively and defensively with the Upper Sandusky Rams.
On the defensive side, Levi Allen is the Northern 10's top tackler on defense with 82 tackles, and Nathan Lewis leads the N10 with 5.5 sacks. So they're going to bring it on that side of the ball as well. You're going to have to keep Cam upright and keep him protected, and that's, I'm sure, an emphasis on your offensive line this week.
Yeah, it's an aggressive defense. They have an aggressive scheme. They don't line up the same way every single time. They're going to give you different looks, make you defend different looks. So yeah, I mean, our kids have to have their eyes up and block their rules and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, for sure. Well, guys, I tell you, the undefeated season is gone, but that doesn't mean the season's gone. You still, I think, have a lot of football to play. In the coming weeks, I'll be talking with Coach Bruner or whoever's here about playoffs because that's still well in your eyesight. Respond accordingly this week. Have a great game again to Upper Sandusky. And it's so great to see you again. Thanks so much for coming out, Coach Miller. Good luck to you the rest of the year.
Thank you.
You bet. Take a break here. We're going to hit the links with the girls golf team at Galleon High School right after this timeout.